Hello and welcome to Last Time Studios, or LDS if you will. Please like and subscribe, it really helps us out. Here's a question I was asked the other day. Did the Alien vs Predator director peak too early? Let's do a deep dive into the director of Alien vs Predator, Paul W.S. Anderson. Well, maybe let's not do a deep dive, let's do an investigation. Still a bit too much going on here. Let's do an analysis of the director of Alien vs Predator, Paul W.S. Anderson. Now fuck it, let's just do a once-over. There's strong opinions out there on AVP, and it gets some serious hate. They always think, aha, but that director did the sci-fi horror masterpiece that is Event Horizon. As I was counting my last few pennies to see if I could afford to keep the TV on, I was watching Event Horizon. It's been a good few years since I've watched it, maybe 7 or 8. I mean, what's Event Horizon not got? Amazing performances from Lawrence Fishburne, Sam Neill, Jodie Richardson, Jason Isaacs and Sean Pertwee. Come on guys, you've got to love dog soldiers. Other than literally naming the entire cast for their strong performances, the film has got strong talent behind the camera. You've got the cream of the crop in the art and editing department. You'll just have to accept that statement. The Aliens DOP also shot the film. So we've got a great start even before the camera rolls. And of course, you've got a director, Paul W.S. Anderson, who's a massive fan of Scott and Cameron, or certainly Alien and Aliens, and an educated guess, he's hungry for success. Rewatching Event Horizon for the 10th time, with quite a gap, but it really showed to me how close it is to Alien. It's almost like it could exist in the same universe. Just as an FYI, Alien Theory has a class video about the film Outland, and how it could also exist within the Alien universe. It's a really good watch. Just to give you some context, back in the day I quite fancied myself as a film director. This was around 2003. So I collected DVDs and listened to all of the director's commentaries, trying to find out how things were done. And for my first project, I started to write a Terminator 3 script. I know, crazy. We've all heard of the 6 degrees of separation, right? So about this time, I was at a very close family friend's house to borrow their 8mm video camera. And I was telling them about my ambitions to make films. As I was telling them, their son was also there. And to my horror, he said that him and his wife know Paul Anderson, and they could set up a meeting with me if I would like. Well, at this time my arse kind of fell out, and with a quick real self-assessment I realised I knew nothing about making films. The only thing I had to show for it was a few scribbled pages of a Terminator 3 script, which was really going nowhere fast. So I declined the meeting. What it did do was to make me realise the next time this happens I'm going to be prepared. So I spent every last penny, dime, on making films and learning what it takes to make a film. 10 years later, I had 3 short films made with 2 official selections under my belt, plus a good reputation as a filmmaker around the northeast of England. Last Time Studios, as in my little team, had written a feature film and it was ready to go. In 2014, I was again around the same family friend's house and I asked about Paul Anderson and if there was any possibility for a meeting. But unfortunately, their son had lost contact and the connection had been lost. Gutted. Now, if you'd like to know more things about Event Horizon, please watch our 10 things you didn't know about Event Horizon, that is. But as I said, this is a once-over about the director. So, with the high regard of Event Horizon, why is it that people shit on Alien vs Predator from such a height? Touching on this point, the IP of Alien vs Predator has a legendary status. First teased in Predator 2, then the lore was fleshed out in comics and massively successful video game series. Everyone out there wanted something spectacular, something that respected the source material, with a lot of evidence that never came to pass, and the lackluster film that we got. I remember going to the cinema to see it and coming out not being very impressed at all. But why is it people don't even acknowledge that the director had done something great previously? Under some brief analysis, let's say you hear about a new Ridley Scott film. Now, for me, I loved Alien, Black Hawk Down, The Martian, and even at a bit of a push, Robin Hood, the director's cut. But I tell you what, I fucking hated Prometheus, and then that clusterfuck that was Covenant, oh my god. Forgetting the last 2 films, Ridley Scott's name holds weight when you've still made absolute masterpieces, one after the next after the next. You can afford a few boo-boos. Now, let's say we hear about another Paul Anderson film. I mean, how many films can one person really list? Soldier, Death Race, Pompeii, And then we get into the bad news. Resident Evil. Sorry, couldn't stand that one. Mortal Kombat. And of course, Alien vs Predator. One big fuck up financially and critically for Paul was Soldier. Kurt Russell, for some reason, was paid $20 million. Other than my gas bill this winter is getting to be around that kind of cost. But all jokes aside, who in the accounting department thought that was a good idea to pay him that much money? There's something seriously fishy going on here. Other than that, but it's the 12A bullshit films that fucked up so many films like my AVP, Terminator 3, or what Terminator 3 should have been, Terminator Salvation, Terminator Genesis. Jesus, Terminator Walk Fit. Well, actually, that was a 15. But it was wokeness that fucked that up, not the 12A bullshit. So playing down these films to suit young people fucked up these films and fucked up the director's reputation with the audience members. Could we say that Event Horizon was a fluke, or more than the sum of its parts? Honestly, I don't think so. It's a product of its time. No fucks given, and Paul Anderson wanting to make a name for itself. It's all out balls. Remember, making a film is a team effort. Everyone pulls in, everybody's talent, driven, of course, by the director. But still, you've got to have an amazing script. You've got to have something good there, the blueprint. If you haven't got that, you've got nothing. We can also say in the same breath that Alien vs Predator was a product of its time, which is a negative in this scenario. Smash it out to cinemas, no streaming service in sight, so there's money to be made on this IP. Let's make it a 12A to get every fucker into the cinema. So that means only say fuck twice in the whole film and make the goal green, therefore pass all the ratings too. It's just a big machine cog. But imagine if you did say something bad about the company that you worked for publicly. You'd be shot at dawn, and 20th Century Fox, you'd expect the same thing. And remember, Paul Anderson is not getting paid 2 cans of Coke, a bag of crisps and 55 pence every day. He's making the mega bucks. Now just look at James Cameron and the sellout over the last 8, 9, however many Terminator films since he left the franchise. Why oh why on every new Terminator release, James Cameron would say, oh, this is the best one yet. Oh no, this one's the official sequel. For someone who was that influential within the movie making business and so mega rich, I can only ask, why does he say this? To support Arnold's career? Fuck no. I just don't get it. My confidence is lost in him. But fuck me, I've just watched Avatar 2 trailer. It does look pretty good. Now that I've said that, riddle me this, Batman. The Avatar series has been in the making for the last 14 plus years. My bet is old Jim's getting sick of topping up the budget with his own money. So he says, look here, I'll give you a bit promotion on the Terminator films, and you give me 70 million towards Avatar, and you can have a few points on the movie, because that's got way more potential to make billions. Anyway, I've lost my train of thought. To summarise, did Paul Anderson peak too early? There's evidence to say maybe he did, but I think he also got trapped by the studio in the 12A bullshit film releases, as the studio's got a great pawn to play with, as they know he knows how to make a good film. Just manipulation through buckets of cash, I presume. I would still say, as I know how hard it is to make even a short film, I think we can all say, if we'd had a career as a filmmaker and Event Horizon was on our CV, you'd be immensely proud. But for Paul Anderson, and for any filmmaker out there, whatever project you're on, just go all out. You might not get another chance to make another film. However, making any film is a privilege, so whatever you do, just work really hard on it. Never retreat, never surrender. That's a different film. Maybe just not mention AVP. I'll see you next time.